Okay. So when we start living a more disciplined lifestyle, it feels like we're missing out on so much. We are restricting ourselves from experiencing so much pleasure. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Because if you think to yourself, I need to be more disciplined, I need to do this now, it's obviously because you have a greater reward in mind. You have something greater in your mind than just indulging in the cheap stimulation. So you understand that to reach this greater reward and this greater fulfillment, you have to ignore the cheap stimulation for the most part. It's still healthy to go 6 days of the week on your structure and on your disciplined lifestyle and 1 day of the week off. That's a healthy balance. But you understand for the most part, you cannot just indulge with the cheap stimulation whenever you decide and whenever you want. Because you understand living that type of lifestyle will not get you this greater reward in the future that you want. Because when you think of it, how could you be thinking in your mind, I want this greater reward, I want this greater sense of fulfillment, and then not pay the price for it? Because it doesn't come for free. Because if it did, and if it was easy to get, there would be absolutely no value in having it. If you think of being in great shape, for example, if that's something you're chasing and like, yeah, every day you want to be in better shape, you want to look better, you want to be fitter, you want to be stronger, and that's one area of your life that you're focusing on. If everyone had that, and it wasn't hard to get at all, anyone could just do a little bit of training for a week and have a great physique, there would be no value to having the physique. You see someone driving down the road in a Lamborghini and you'll respect it because it's expensive and because you know it's hard to get. The money he will have had to pay for that is hard to get. So it's valuable then because it's hard to obtain. So if you think of living a more disciplined lifestyle so you can be stronger and fitter and have a better physique, the discipline is the price you're paying to reach this greater reward and this greater fulfillment. And that's the price you must pay because the discipline is uncomfortable and you don't want to do it. If you could have the greater reward without being more disciplined, you wouldn't choose to be more disciplined. But the discipline is the price you pay to reach this greater reward. So then when you see someone who is rich or you see someone who has a great physique, you respect that because you know subconsciously it's hard to get. And when you see people talking about discipline online, it always gets taken to this place of extreme discipline, of waking up at 5 a.m, cold plunge, sauna, journal, meditation, and all this stuff. And yeah, of course, that's discipline if you're doing that every day, because of course, who would want to do that every day? So that is discipline. But it's also discipline waking up at just a normal time, 9 a.m, and telling yourself, I don't want to train today, but I am going to train. And making sure you train. I don't want to eat clean today, but I am going to eat clean. And making sure you eat clean. I don't want to drink 4 litres of water today, but I am going to do it and making sure you do it. So even though that is not as flashy and that's not like waking up at 5 a.m. to go and run 10 miles and do a sauna and a cold plunge. It's not flashy and all like glamorized like that. But that is still discipline. If you don't train and if you eat like crap and you tell yourself, I'm not going to eat like crap anymore and I'm going to train all the time. I'm going to train 6 days of the week. And if you just make sure you do those things every day, you don't eat like crap and you train, that is still discipline. Discipline is just doing what you know you should when you don't feel like it. Not letting your feelings decide what you do. If you wake up and you don't feel motivated to train, still training anyway. This idea of discipline is like waking up at 5 a.m. And of course that is discipline, but it doesn't have to be that. That is real extreme cases, and good for them if they do that, and if, you know, that's their routine and that's what they do. But you don't have to do that to consider yourself a disciplined person. In your own mind, if you tell yourself, I've been eating like crap and I haven't been training, and I want to be stronger, I want to be fitter, I want to look better, I want to enjoy looking at myself in the mirror, so that's your greater reward that you want. So to get this greater reward, I'm going to make sure I don't eat like crap, I eat clean, I drink water, and I train. And if you just do those things, you are being disciplined. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. and do all this crazy routine, meditate and journal. You don't have to do all that. You can if you want. If you decide, this is what's going to work best for me, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m, journal, sauna, cold plunge. And if that's what you prefer, then you do that. So the truth about discipline is that we must be disciplined to reach the greater reward. And the price of the greater reward is the discipline. The discipline is the payment to have the greater reward. We cannot engage in all the instant stimulation, all the instant gratification, and still expect a fulfilling reward later on. We have to drop that. We have to restrict our indulgence in those things and be more disciplined so that we can get the greater reward and that fulfillment, that fulfilling reward later on.